Our session will be like divided into two parts as we discussed previously. Like first session will be on the educational aspect, and second session will be the analysis of some of the stocks. But before we formally begin, can I have some responses from you guys? If you can just type on the chat box to just let me know if everything is going well and my sound is audible, you can hear me, and the screen is fine, although there is nothing on the screen yet. It's just the Air Canada chart. We don't have any PowerPoint presentations yet for the educational purposes, but going forward we can have those as well to facilitate the learning. And for the time being, it is just Air Canada chart being displayed on the streaming. So just tell me if everything is going well so that we can formally start. I have received one comment from Mithil. Thank you, Mithil, for letting me know that it's fine. So yep, so if I can have like few more responses, like everything is going well, then we can formally start. Okay, that's good then. Thanks everyone, Saurav and Karthik. So let's begin. And so we will be discussing two things. Number one is the educational side, and the other one will be the technical aspect, where we will be discussing like few of the stocks. And from the educational side, in our last session, which was held on the Zoom link, and in that we discussed about RSI, and we decided that in the next session we are going to discuss the MACD. Though we had a little introduction of the MACD, the moving average convergence and divergence, so we decided to dig it in more detail in our next session. So we'll have just a very quick recap of our RSI. I just want to know from you guys if you have like practiced this RSI thing during the last week, and if you encountered some other questions, you can just let me know, and we can discuss this first if you have some questions, and if not, then we can move on further with the MACD. RSI, the most important thing was the levels 30,000 and the 30 and the 70. If it goes beyond 70, then you have to be very careful, and that's not a buying time actually. Some of the stocks which are in the upward direction, upward move, and then if they make if they cross the 70 line, then there is a chance that they might fall down. And below 30 is a good buy actually, but not only based on the technicals, you have to see the fundamental aspects too. It might be below 30 because of some fundamental reason, it is going to bankruptcy or something else. Okay, so someone is requesting, I think it's from our channel, about candlesticks for new joiners. Okay, in the candlestick, if I'm getting you guys correctly, some of other fellow was also discussing the candlestick thing. So are you just saying what the name, I mean how to read this candle, a particular red or the green candle, or the whole candlestick pattern? Because if we say about the candlestick pattern, that's altogether a different story, and it's very in-depth, and I'm planning to have a separate session on the candlestick pattern. Like if you guys can recall, when we started our session last time, we said like we have chart patterns, we have candlestick patterns, then we have some sort of indicators. So we started our journey from indicators, and today we'll be covering the second indicator, and then we can the next session I'm planning on the candlesticks. The candlestick pattern will be discussed in more detailed in our next session, but today for someone if is requesting, I can tell like what is high, what is low, and what is the opening price and what is the closing price, and the red and the green, although we discussed in our last session. But for the new joiners, I will be doing that. So let's begin with our MACD first, and then I will touch upon this candlestick, how to read a single candlestick. But for the candlestick pattern, that will be our next topic. So the MACD, let's begin our MACD thing. This MACD is one of the trending indicator. Last time we discussed RSI, which was a momentum indicator, and now we are discussing the MACD, which is a trend indicator, and it's a lagging indicator too, since it is based on the past data, so we say it a lagging indicator. Okay, so how what it shows is actually the strength, the direction, and the momentum of a stock price. So these three things are depicted by the MACD. It shows the strength of the price, it's a strength of the stock itself, whether it's strong, it's weak, momentum, and the direction. This is going the upward direction or it's in the downward trend direction. As I said, it's a trend indicator, so it will tell you the direction, upward or downward. And the components are very important. I will tell you the components. If we can, just have a look on the screen. Yep. So the components here, the components of a MACD, we have like 3 components of MACD. Number one is this blue line, which is called as the MACD line, and the other one is the red line, which is called as a signal line. And then the third component is this bar chart, we call it a histogram. So there are 3 components of a MACD: red line, blue line, and the histogram. The blue line is also called as a MACD line, and the red line is called as a signal line. So now how it is derived, this is actually, we'll focus on this blue line first. And this blue line, which is called the MACD line, it is actually a difference between the two averages, two moving averages, or say two exponential moving averages. When you say exponential moving averages, the short form is EMA. EMA, we can call it EMA. So it is, we'll be saying, we will using the word EMA in our discussion. So this blue line is actually a difference between 2 EMAs of the closing prices plotted over time. When we say 2 EMAs, means 2 moving averages of 2 different points. Let's say a moving average, one point maybe last 12 days, the other point maybe like last 26 days. So the moving averages of these moving averages of like 26-day period and the moving average of 12-day period, the difference between these 2 moving averages is plotted here on this blue line over time. So if we plot one difference here and move on, then we connect all these points together, we'll get one line, which is called as this MACD line. So MACD line is nothing but actually it's a difference between the moving averages plotted over time. Okay, that's how we derive this line. So the most important thing to consider here is that this is actually a moving average line, and not a one period. It's a difference between 2 periods moving average line plotted over time. And side by side we have this red line, which is called signal line. This red line is actually a moving average of this blue line. Okay, this blue line is itself a difference between the 2 moving averages. And then we have this red line. This red line is actually a average of the blue line, or we can say this is an average of the difference itself. So this is also plotted over time along with this blue line. This was the second component. And this third component is this histogram. Histogram, we call it a bar chart also, and this is actually the 0 axis. If you can see my cursor here, this x-axis, this is currently at the 0 line. So this is 0 axis, and the above is positive and the below is the negative number. And the height of this histogram, height of these bars, actually gives you the strength of the shows you the strength of the divergence or the convergence. As the name says, like MACD, moving average, conversion, and divergence. The moving averages, I told you that these lines are nothing but the moving averages or the difference of the moving averages, and then this average of the average or average of the difference of the averages. Then we say that this is the third component is convergence and divergence. Okay, this convergence and divergence means how converged these 2 lines are or how diverged these 2 lines are. Like we can see here, like these are pretty much diverged. Here there is a divergence, the difference between the 2 lines, and the convergence, if I can show you the convergence, like this is altogether converged, or there is actually no difference here, and then the slight difference here, and these are like pretty much converged. So the difference between 2 lines is very less. Here difference is less, but here you can see a huge difference and a good difference here. And here also the latest one is, this is by the way Air Canada chart, so you can see here the good divergence here. So this divergence is also shown in the form of a graph. So this graph, if the heights of these bars are high, so we call it that this is a huge divergence here. and then it's going down to means convergence is decreasing, divergence is decreasing, so it is being converged. So whenever there is a convergence, the momentum is getting weaker. The higher the bar charts, it means there is a huge divergence and the momentum is stronger. If you see the latest thing here, okay, so here if you can see this divergence is a divergence are higher, so you can but by the way this was the negative at the below side, so stock was strongly momentum was strong, but strong momentum on the lower side. Here if you can see this side, this we can say that okay, this was a divergence and the divergence was strong. Well, they were the big divergence, as you can see with these the heights of the bars which are also showing the same, so mean the momentum is strong and the momentum here is upward, so upward momentum is strong here. The stock has shown a huge divergence here. Okay, a good strength here of the upward move. What happened will with the future of this stock we will be discussing in our next session now, next part of this session. So MACD, coming back to MACD, three components, two MACD lines, red line which is called as a signal line, and the blue line called the MACD line, and then we have the histogram. So these are the three components, and the definition I told you, this is the averages actually. So since this is based on the averages of the past data, so this is actually a lagging indicator. It shows the past trend, it doesn't talk about the future, it shows about the past. Like RSI, that was a leading indicator because it shows you the future. When it moves up 70,000, then you can sell, okay, it might fall down. So it was a leading indicator. Unlike RSI, MACD is a lagging indicator because it makes use of the past data to depict the trend. Okay, now moving forward, how to interpret this. So interpretation is very important. Let's back again here. So we have two important concepts here. Number one is the crossover. If this blue line crosses over the red line from below, or we can say there is a cross up. If there is a cross up, then this is a good point to buy. So here there is a cross up at this point, so you don't need to buy exactly at the crossover. Let this blue line cross a little bit and move upward. If it move upward, I think that is the good time to buy. But sometimes what the people do, they who are like more risk takers, whenever it starts changing its shape, for example it came here and the next day, let's say the line is still here, it has just shown an upward move, but it has not yet crossed over, it has just changed its shape, and this shape is showing that it will now go up, and eventually it went up till here and then moved. So most of the people will enter from here. Those who are like risk takers, they sometimes enter from here, and then eventually it crossed here, and then most of the guys which is enter from here, which is actually the good point to enter depending upon your risk capacity, and then you can see it has gone further up. If I can relate the price of the stock from the MACD, if it was here, like when it was crossing up at this point of time, then you can see the price here was 15.12. Some guys will enter from here and the price actually went up, but it may happen that it has changed its shape from here and then it had moved further down. It didn't cross even, like you can see here, it changed the shape, it went up, okay, from here, and it stopped here for a while. It might have come down, or you can see here it changed the shape, it touched this, but it never crossed, it fell down. So what happened to the stock at this point of time? What was the level? Yeah, this level, the stock didn't move up, it actually went down. So those guys who are trying to enter the position, whenever the shape is changed, it's not a good idea. Stock might not go up because the line might not cross, it might come back again as it happened here. So the good point to enter here is whenever it has actually crossed and it is a cross up. On the opposite side, there can be a cross down. It is crossing from above, so you call it cross down, and this is the point where you need to exit the trade as per the MACD. So let's see the stock here. So you can see that from here it is saying to exit, so you can exit from here, and eventually it went down, the stock price went down. So MACD has already indicated to exit the trade from this point in time, and you can exit from here. So you need to be careful, like let it cross down, not only because it has just changed the shape, so that you exit it. Maybe it changed the shape, it went down a little bit and then it moved further up. Okay, so just to summarize on the MACD, three components. You need to be careful of the convergence and the divergence. The more the divergence, the better it is. It shows a very strong strength. And how to interpret this: if it is moving up, then it is giving a crossover. After you get a crossover, this is a good point to enter. And on the opposite, if it is crossing down after it has already crossed the red line, the signal line, then at this point you can exit the trade. So this will be your trading strategy based on the MACD. But again, MACD is not the only thing that you will consider while you plan your trade. So along, it is just one indicator. So one indicator is not sufficient. So MACD coupled with RSI, coupled with the volumes, these are the minimum requirements that you need to consider, along with some other aspects too. And then the candlesticks, which we are going to discuss in our next session. So these are also the important factors to consider. So any questions, guys, so far on the MACD? You want to discuss something over this? Just let me know if you have some question or how you felt on this. It was good, or it added something to your knowledge, or something more you want to discuss upon this. Just comment in the box and we can discuss that thing. Okay, please just tell, I just read your message. Please just tell basic of candles, Muzuf Khan. Okay, sure, we will discuss the basics of the candle. Let's wrap up this MACD thing and then we will be discussing the candle things. So could you also please touch candlesticks for the new joiners? Yeah, sure, we will be discussing that too. Okay. So guys, any comments so far, or anything you want to say on this MACD before we move forward? So yes, Musa Khan is saying what kind of average we need to consider in this. This is actually a moving average, and that is done by the system itself, by the built-in indicator software. You don't need to calculate yourself. It is already built in. I was just discussing the background, how the system or how the software is calculating. What is the logic behind that line, how these lines are right. So you don't need to consider this. Like, and for 12 and 26, I was about to come on this thing. So this 12 and 26, okay, like the name suggests here, MACD 12, 26, close 9. So this red line, this MACD line, blue line, this is I mentioned that this is actually a moving average of 2 points in time. For the last 2 points, we calculate the difference of the moving averages of the 2 points in time. So one is 26 and the other one is 26, the other one is 12. So we have considered the moving average of the last 12 and the moving average of the 26th period and the moving average of the 12th period. So we have calculated the difference between these two averages and have plotted it here over a period of time. So when we calculate the difference, we will get a number. So this number is here. You put a dot here. Then we another dot, and then we join all these dots. So we get a line. So this difference of the last 26-day period and the 12-day period is plotted over a period of time, and then we join all these points. We'll get a line. So that line is called a MACD line for the last two moving averages of the closing prices. And this number 9 is actually the 9-day period as depicted by your red line. So the red line is actually the moving average of this blue line, and the period considered is 9. You can change this also in the format, but it's better to stick with the same, because it is mostly used. And how this is done, this is the last 26-day 12-day period average, difference between those two, and the red line is actually the average of the 9-day period based on the blue line. So that's how we calculate this, but this is built in the system. If you want to change this, you can change. You can go here in the format and you can change the length, the fast length period and the short length period and the signal length period, but it's better to stick with here. stick with the same because these are more commonly and widely used, but you have a choice. If you want to change it, you can. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Khan. Just let me know if it is clear or I can elaborate this further to you. Okay, yeah, Aditya is saying, what timelines do we use in MACD? What timelines? Timelines means, what do you mean by the timelines? You're talking about these periods, 26, 12, and the 9, or you have some other question? Can you just little elaborate? If you have question on this, I just explain, or if you have some other question, you can just type in here so I can answer that. Wakas is here, informative. Thank you. Couldn't please share the example where we use RSI and MACD together? Yes, we will be covering it shortly, where we are going to discuss about some different stocks, and on that stocks we will apply these to RSI and the MACD, and then you can have a petty application here. Just wait for a while and then we'll go to that section. Because example, both indicators are showing up by time. In this one we will be covering the ACE thing right now, so I can tell you in more detail. So based on the MACD, yes, and the based on the RSI, it's an upward direction. So these two indicators are saying that it's good to enter in this trade, but again, this is not the only thing we're gonna consider. By the way, the volumes are also high. The third thing is also good. You can see the high volumes, but then we have another thing, when to enter the trade, the support and the resistance. We'll covering the support and the resistance topic shortly when we are going to discuss some of the stocks including Air Canada. Okay, so Aditya, do we always consider the same numbers for all stocks? Yes, we consider the same number for all stocks. This is a built-in pattern. We use the same. So what should be the moving average values for day trading? Day trading moving averages for MACD. I normally do not do day trade, so I don't have a very good idea on this, but moving averages remains the same because you're gonna change the time frame in the daily. When you're going to see that this daily you're going to do the day trading, so in the time frame of the chart, you will not consider one day. Like this one is like 1 day right now, so you will convert this on a 1 minute chart or 5 minute chart. When you convert this 5 minute chart, and then when we apply this MACD, you see the MACD shape has been changed. So the MACD numbers which have been taken are actually now the same period. So period does not mean day. Here 26 and the 12 does not mean last 26 days and the last 12 days. Last 26 periods and the last 12 periods. So what is the period in this example now is every 5 minutes. What is the chart? Is a 5 minute chart. So every 5 minutes is one period. Are you getting this? So every 5 minutes is one period. So period will correspond to this time frame. Otherwise, this MACD shape would have remained the same. This MACD shape has changed because we have changed the period. So you will keep this same. You don't have to change anything in this 26, 12 or 9. You just need to change the time frame. Essentially, like when you do the day trading, you use this 5 minutes, 1 minute, 15 minutes, or even shorter time frame. And when you apply the MACD data that will be picked up will be based on the last periods, last 26 period, 12 period, and the 9 period. So that period does not mean the day. That period means that corresponds to the time frame which you are using. So if you are using 5 minutes, so the last each 5 minute interval is one period. I hope that answers you. Okay, so Aditya, okay, do we all consider the numbers? Fine. Saurabh, MACD and RSI when checked for 15 days sometimes shows overbought, but when you zoomed 1 day period it shows different. Yes, it happens. So whenever you have to trade, you have to look at the bigger picture too. So it's for the 1 day period, it might say indicator is saying okay, buy, it's a buy trend. But if you go back and look at the 1 week trend or 2 weeks or 1 month, then it is not showing you the same result. So the analysis for 1 day and 2 day will be different. So 1 day analysis, those who are doing just 1 day analysis means they are holding it just for 1 day or max for 2 or 3 days, not over a week period. If you are holding something, you're doing a swing trade over a week, then you have to see over a week time. So whenever you have to take any decision, don't take it and you are like a swing trader. So you don't only rely on a one day, you have to look at the bigger picture also. If you have to hold it big, at least like over a week. So along with the one day, because one day chart you will use to see when to enter and when to exit. And over the long run, if you are holding by the long run here, I'm saying that if you're even holding for a week, so check the weekly trend too before you enter, and it will give you it might give you, a different answer if you see on the weekly basis, or you see even a monthly basis. Like for example, if someone is trying to hold the stock for a very long term, 1 year, so he will not be bothered by the daily movements. He will be bothered about the movement over the months, over the quarters, or over the year. So if he's going to hold anything over a year or so. So same goes with the guys who are doing the weekly trends, like who normally have the TFSA account, they do the swing trade, not the day trading. So those guys must use weekly and monthly charts to see how the stock looks like, or how the stock is behaving over a monthly or over the weekly basis, along with the daily chart, because the daily chart you're gonna use to see which day to enter. And then for example, today seems to be a very good day to enter, to buy a stock. The stock is down or the market is down, so that seems to be a good buying day. And then within that day, what we do, we open a hourly chart to see which point in time during the day the stock seems to be or is expected to be lower, so that we can enter. The same formula applies on the other side also. You go up side on the flip. Okay, hope that answers you. If you have some other thing or you want to add something, you can just comment on the box here, so I'll reply to that. Okay, so welcome Aditya, Mozaf Khan. Okay, good, thank you. So what should we consider for swing trading? What should we consider? Yes, sort of, for the swing trading, at least weekly. Day is like a daily pattern. You need to see like on which day it is being expected to go down. If it is going in a downward trend, so you can expect, okay, it can go down, and then we wait for that point, that day of the week, so that you can enter. And then you need to see for the swing trade at least weekly also. Monthly is also good, because sometimes you need to hold for a month, so you can. So weekly is highly recommended, and monthly is also recommended too for the swing trades. And the daily it goes without saying for the daily. Okay, thank you, Saurabh. Imran, could not understand one basic thing in your chart. It shows different time intervals of 5, 1 hour, 1D. What does these time interval means? Okay, these time intervals these are the actually options, which options you can use. Like you can have this chart over a 1 hour period, or a 1 day period, 1 month, or 1 day, or even in the minutes, in the hours, anything. Like normally when you will open this chart, you just stay here on the 1 day. So these all the candles, each candle represents 1 day. So you can analyze the chart on the daily basis, or you can analyze the chart on a monthly basis. It's 1 month, this is 1 hour, 1 day, and then this is like 5 minutes. So each candle is formed after every 5 minutes. So this is the 5-minute interval. So in our analysis, we do on a 1 day chart, unless you're doing a day trading, so you go within 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 minute. The 1 day chart is a good idea to discuss. So we'll be sticking on 1 day, and just I mentioned, like if you're doing a swing trade, so better to see 1 week movement and a 1 month movement too, to get a bigger picture. Hope that answers you, Imran. Okay, so I think now we can move on next. Okay guys, with regards to the timing, we will try to make it till 1 hour to 1.5. Okay, and we'll try not to exceed 1.5 hour, because most of the guys have different time zones, and it's like night over there. So we'll stick to 1.5, not more than that. Okay, 1 to 1.5, wherever it suits. So this is done from the educational aspect, and the next session will be on the candlestick patterns. What the candlestick shows, how this candlesticks displays the information and all that. So that will be our next day educational topic. And before moving that, I just want to cover one small thing on the candlestick. What is the candlestick? Okay, this candlestick is actually, I will focus on this candlestick here. Let me zoom it so everyone can have a look. So this candlestick, it's only for those who have just joined today. a basic thing, otherwise we have discussed in our last session. So this candlestick, this is like we have two different sticks, red one and the green one. The red one shows the upward movement, the red one shows the upward movement, and the green one shows the downward movement. You can have like different colors, black and the white also, but we are using this color. I think default is red and the black, but and some of the sites you will find the green and the red too. So green is upward, shows the upward stock movement, and this shows the downward stock movement. So this whole the green rectangular box, this is called the body of the candle. Okay, and these are these sticks up which are up and down. The downward is a small one, here is the big one. So these sticks we call it the wick. This is the upward wick, this is the downward wick. So this one shows, this upward wick shows, if you can see the price here, 34.59. This was the highest price on this day. This day is like 6th of I think that's the 3rd of June or 2020, and on that day the Air Canada stock made a high of made a high of 34.59. Okay, this was like I think that was March. So on March 6th, yeah, that was 34 was the highest on that day, and the lowest wick, the low point was 30. Okay, and that's what the wick shows, and the opening is here, this point. This is the open price and this is the closing price on that day. The open price was 31.11 and the closing price on that day was 33. So it opened at 31. Okay, then it made a low of during that day 30.89, then it made a high of 34 but eventually closed at 33. So that's how we read this. And on the red side, let's talk about this candle. If I can get a wick here. Okay, this one. So this one is a red candle. It was opened here. Now opening will be on the higher side, 25. It opened at 25, made a high of 27, made a low of 21, and it closed at 25.45. The closing is on the downside in the red one, and the green one, the closing on the upper side. So if you need to discuss further, you can ask if someone has that particular question. Okay, so that was a small candlestick, how to read a candle, up, close, opening, closing, up and down. So that's fine. Now we are going to discuss the different stocks. So let's begin with any of the stock that you want to recommend. Air Canada is the first one. I think it's already open, so and we are like very much interested in Air Canada. So I will be discussing Air Canada first, and the next stock will be of your choice. So you can comment in the chat box and just let me know which next stock you want to discuss. In the meanwhile, I will start with Air Canada, and then we'll move on to the next one of your choice. Okay, so the Air Canada, it was open here for a very long time. So you can see here, if we talk about the RSI, let me remove these lines here. Okay, so the RSI is in upward direction. So I told you that if it is above 50, so above 50, the line above 50 shows you the upward trend, and the line below 50 shows you the downward trend. So it is above 50, it is an upward trend, and the shape, you can see the shape, it's like it is sharply inclined. So it's an upward move. It is bullish in nature for the time being. So it's depicting a buy signal at this point of time based on RSI. Well, it is in upward direction, number one. Number two, the shape is sharply upward, so this is bullish in nature. So, and the MACD, you can see there the divergence. The blue line is already up, it's above the red line, which is number one. Number two, you can see the divergence, it is diverged. Here it was a convergence and then it changed shape from here, so it is diverged in nature. And the histogram is also showing the divergence, and it is the increasing trend of divergence. So this is important thing to note. Here also it was a if this chart, if you can see this bar, this was like here it was increasing trend, it moved till here and then it fell down. So now here it is in upward trend. If the next day on Monday, if it moves like up, so it will like further strengthen this trend. Okay, so it can go further up. Currently this MACD is a lagging indicator. It shows you the past trend. Based on the past trend, MACD is saying that it is, it's good to buy this stock because of the upward trend. and increasing momentum in their stock. So MACD is positive, RSI is positive, the volumes are, you can see the volumes are ever increasing. Like for the last 3 days, the 4 days, if you consider these 3 days, they were the constant volumes based on the average. It was traded averagely, and in the last 3 days the volumes are like higher, and they stood above average, and each day volume is higher than the previous day volume. So volume trend is also positive. Now these are the 3 things which are positive, but that's not all. So let's talk about the trend analysis. So if you talk about the trend analysis, then we draw one resistance line, which is very important to draw here. So you can see that this stock, where if I take this upper wick here, this one, and change the color to red, and I'll make it bold so it is visible. So this is the resistance line, and let me make a support line too. If I make a support here, it can take, and let's change it to lighter green or the blue one. Okay, so currently this stock was closed at 20.29, but the immediate resistance which is facing is 22.89. It closed at 20, and 22.89 is the immediate resistance. It can resist at this point in time. Those who were following this Air Canada, they must have noticed that what happened to this stock. It made a high of 22.50. Exactly, I don't know the exact number of what it made. It on the graph it will go till like 20.53 or 5. The exact number was 22.50. So it made a high of 22.50, but it was not able to break that high. It touched only one time 22.5, but it never crossed 22.5 again. It didn't came even closer to that, and after that it went down, and took a support at 20 point day support. On that day it made a low of 20.09, and then it gave a closing at 20.29. so it shows that there is a resistance at this level. So if I come back and do a back testing, so and on this day also, on like 29th of April also, it touched at this point, but it couldn't sustain. The next day candle was a red candle. It went down and down until it moved here, stayed for a while here, consolidated for a very little while, and then moved further down to a very lowest level of 12. It gave a closing around, made a wick of 12.78 on that particular day. And here also it approached to this level, okay, and then stayed there for 2 days and made a downward journey. Here also at this point, okay, it didn't stay here, but so it is not very important to discuss this, but still it is touching at this point. But important trend is here, this point and this point, and again we are at the same level. So this is very crucial level and very important, and guys, this is dangerous too. Those guys like who are like planning to enter in this stock, just hold on for a while. Like I have been seeing the comments in our video, not the video, in our in the group, like people were saying, is it good to buy or is it good to enter at AC right now? So my comment on that is to wait, because now it is like at this level, and you need to see whether it crosses this resistance. If it crosses this resistance level and makes a candle above this, I mean the closing price is above 22.89 on Monday. If it closes above this point, then we can say, okay, yes, it has crossed its resistance and there's a chance that it will go further up. But on the other side, if it does not cross, if the closing is less than 22.89, then I think it will start its downward journey from here, as depicted by this trend which happened last time too. So this is very important to see the movement on Monday. I'm not talking about the high. If it makes high of maybe 23, that's not important. It can make a high of maybe 24, but the important thing is where it closes. If it makes a high of 24 but it closes like below 22.89, then it will not be considered a breakout of resistance. So you need to wait for the breakout. If it breaks out, it's very good for this and it will go further up. But if it doesn't breaks out, then you have to wait, and then you see where it stops. Then we have a stop here, at support level, then you might find this stock trading around 17.78 to 18. At this level, it can stop here and then start its upward journey again, or it might, take another support here at the second level. We call it the second support. Let's draw a line here. This will be an S2, support level 2, and the third support level will be further below this. Normally it's not expected to go to that level, and most important is the S1 and then the S2. S3 normally you will not find because stock will not go so down. So the first support level is around 17.78, second one is around 16. So you can find the stock trading around 17 if it makes a downward journey. So wait and watch for this stock. Now if we come again here, talk about the volumes, and this one and this one, I told you this one is the lagging indicator. It gives you a past trend. So if it goes down tomorrow, I mean on the next session Monday it goes down, then you will find this shape of this one will be changing and shape of this will start diverging. Okay, so this support and resistance level, which is a trend, the trend is very important and trend is your friend. So don't go against the trend. So I will not recommend entering in this trade right now. Wait and see how it behaves on Monday, and then you can plan your trade. So anything you want to say about this stock, or you want to tell me something, you want to share something, and regarding the news, okay, the meanwhile you guys can comment here and I will share some news about this. Like, and someone has, yeah, I think recently shared link also. Most of guys you have gone through that it has already raised some, some funding based on, issuing the further shares and issuing the convertible debentures. By the way, those who don't know, convertible debentures are like a form of raising the money from the market, and that's a form of a loan in the beginning, and then there is an option at there's an option with the holder of that debenture that can be converted subsequently into shares if you want to buy the shares of the Canada of Air Canada. So it has actually raised money on that from by issuing the convertible debentures and the shares. So the company has got funds, but some people are saying that it might go down. People might not be traveling for next 2-3 years. That is very long term in my perspective. But if someone is doing a swing trade, I don't think you need to worry about that, because when this Canada Airlines operations will open, you might see a small increase. And if you talk about the bigger picture, a very long-term investment, 2-3 years, you might consider that aspect. But for the swing trades, you will see that it will keep on swinging. If they have got some more funds that will be invested and that can help to run the business, so profits might go up. Someone saying that revenue might go down, people might not be traveling, the cost will also go down, but not exactly in the same percentage. So let's see how it moves. But for the swing trade, you don't need to worry about that thing that revenues might not come back for next 2-3 years. For the long term perspective, yes, it is an important factor to consider, but the long term trend will be set up after like few months, when we will see the airlines operating well and the next financial results are up. So if you are like worried, so let's wait and not invest for a very long period. But swing trades, yes, you can do. So I have been receiving some of the things that you want to discuss, some stocks. And Musaf Khan, okay, you are saying draw resistance and support line. That okay, we have covered this previously, but if you want more in more detail, I can upload a separate video on this. For the right now support, you can see the point where it touches the maximum number of times it takes the support, and the resistance is the point where again it has act as a ceiling and protected the stock, prevented the stock from going above that level, and it has been tested several times. I can upload a separate video on this. Okay, then let's move on to anything guys you want to share on the Air Canada stock. You can just comment in here, and then we will keep on moving with the next one. Next one. Let's start with HR. Most of the people were discussing on about this. this is something else. Okay. Okay, guys. Coming to this one. Okay, this stock has shown an upward movement till here, and if you draw a resistance line here, so it is facing, you can see there is no resistance till here. There was a resistance here, it has already broke its resistance. It has already crossed up, and I cannot see any further resistance here in this picture. Let's go back and do a back testing. If it was till 2018, I couldn't find 17 also. We have gone enough back for like 4-5 years. You don't need to go so much, need not to go too much back here. Let's come back and make a reset again. So guys, there was a resistance at this level of 10.81, which the stock has already broke, and okay, it has gone up and gave a closing above this resistance level, which seems to be good actually. So it is you know, we can say that it has crossed the resistance and it can go up further. And the support level, let's draw the support level 2 here. If we talk about the support, we can see, consider this level as a support. Let's change the color to blue. Okay, the support level, the downside of this stock is 9.6, and the upside is there is nothing. With this trend for short time, it might, you know, face a small hindrance. I will not say a resistance, because for resistance there should be at least 2 points to meet. So at 11, previously it touched this 11 high, 11.61, but it you know, didn't sustain on that day. But it's not a resistance, because for resistance to happen, it should be like at least 2 points to meet, to consider, and then we can call it a resistance. This is not a resistance though, and you can see a stock moving up, and it never stopped at any point here till like the upside is like so high till 20. So you can expect like the next resistance level to be 20.51 for this stock, the next coming resistance in the below it. But it will not like go straight up in a straight line to 20. It will, like, you know, go up, slightly down, take some correction, and then, you know, slowly and gradually it can move up in a wave. Yeah, that's how the market moves. So if I'm saying that it can go up to 20, but it doesn't mean that it will go up in a week time. It will take some time, but eventually, yes, it's like there is nothing that gonna stop the stock to move up to 20 unless there is very bad news related to this. Because if there is a news, then all technical analysis that just fail and then follow the trends of the news. So you will follow the news trend. So keeping everything constant, this stock seems to be in upward direction and seems to be good. And RSI is also in the upward direction above 50 and in a steep incline and positive in nature, bullish in nature. RSI is positive, showing an upward, and the MACD line is above, you know, the above the signal line. Blue line is above, which is positive, and the convergence has, you know, has started to increase. As you can see the histogram, the strength is increasing, and you can see the above trend. And guys, check this stock on Monday. If it's Monday the closing is above, the trend will be confirmed. Although trend has already confirmed, like, because the closing price is above the resistance line, sometimes there is a false breakout. So if it is going down on Monday and giving a closing below 11.28, then you need to wait a little more. But based on the technical analysis, like it seems that it will go up because it has already crossed it. So RSI is positive, this one positive. The only thing that I'm considering is like the volume. The volume is still below average, but it is you know, more than the previous day. So this one more low than higher than the previous one. And the only thing that is like kind of important to consider here is like maybe very important thing to consider, like the volumes are currently not being supported because the volumes are low. Volumes are here above the average, here the volume is below the average. So Monday, better to see how this stock is trading on Monday before you enter into a trade. I hope that answers you, and will help you to analyze the stock on Monday. The only thing to check on Monday is the volume, how the volumes are responding, keeping other things the same. Okay, so next stock that we gonna pick up is SCL. SCL, my God, SCL. What SCL did on last session? I think like a 70% jump or something, even more. SCL again. SCL Shocker. Shocker. Okay, Shocker was in a very long consolidation phase. You know, the guys, I told you in the last session, the longer the consolidation phase, the stronger the strength it is, stronger the momentum it is whenever it breaks out. So it broke out the, the consolidation phase, and you can see one from 1.7, the closing price of 2.08, from 2.08 to 3.55, tremendous, a huge one. So, and with, a downward price rejection, that it was not, coming down. It made a low, and then, it kept on increasing, and there is no upward price rejection, means there is no upward wick here. So it kept on just increasing, like kind of thing, and volumes were so high, more like more than, volumes in any of the preceding day for a very long time here. Okay, and important thing here to note is, like as expected, the RSI has crossed 70. So it might fall down on this level now. Most of the people will start doing shorting here. They will do the short, they will do a short sell, and then it will bring the this line down. So those guys who already own this stock, many of you must have already sold it, but if you are still carrying it, just see the price movement on Monday. If Monday it is starting its downward journey, exit the trade because of the RSI. RSI can fall down, and you will see many of the short sellers coming into the market. So SCL is, for me, not a good buy on Monday, given its downward trend. If it is still getting its upward trend, then you can, enter, but very, it will be risky. So you need to enter and then watch closely. If it is going down, sell it and exit the trade. It can be good for the day trading from the short selling point of view, or the buy from the long position point of view. But for the swing trade, if you are planning to hold it for a week or so, it might not be a good idea because of RSI has gone up, cross 50, and this one is in bullish in nature, because this is showing that the past trend. And on Monday, based on the RSI, it can fall down. If it falls down, then you will see the divergence here on the MACD line too. So Monday session is very important for SCL. And if I see, the resistance, there is no resistance here till 8.37. In the longer run, it can go up, but we cannot make any prediction based on just on one day trading, because it was in a consolidation phase for a very long time, and it has, moved up, and we have only one day of the upward trend. So we cannot say anything that this upward trend will sustain or not, because in order to have a trend, we need to have some more sessions, some more candles to, to make our prediction, to set the trend, to check the trend, or to comment anything on that. On one day you cannot comment anything. Maybe like on the next day you will see it start falling down and come again down at the same level, or stay something here above, because now the support level will be this one. We can draw a support though. Support level will be like this one. It will seek a support at this level. So if you see the stock coming down, it will take a support at 2.3, and although the upward side is very high at this level, but it is not very important now to consider this upward trend and see the if we say that okay, the resistance level is very high, it will eventually go to 8.6. In order to comment on this, we need to have some more trading sessions and to check how it is behaving in the upcoming days, and then we can say anything. So if you are already holding it, keep a very close watch on Monday. If you have not entered, then it's not recommended to enter if it has already started its downward journey, given you are planning to buy. If you're planning to sell downward journey, you do a short selling. It can be considered for that. Okay, so the next one we will go for Expa Sorab. Okay, Expa was also, with a very long consolidation. Then it made a small move up, consolidated again. Then we have a big move in upward direction. But the important thing here to note is the downward price rejection, but the closing is it has formed a red candle. It was like a gap up opening, but the closing is like below that opening price. Although it closed, it's very important to analyze this trend here. Like it closed on the previous session. Before this session, it closed on 1.93, okay, and then made a gap up opening of 2.8, but it couldn't sustain. This is very important. It made a gap up of 2.8, but it was not able to sustain that opening price of that day, and it closed at 2.4. What does that mean? That the investors don't have any more confidence in that, as compared to the confidence which was there at the beginning of the day. In the morning there was a huge confidence that yeah, it will go up, because the guys who have bought this price bought at 12.8, they were expecting it of course to go up. But when the trading began during the day, based on the fluctuations, it started a downward journey and closed at 2.3. So there was not much confidence of the traders during that session, so it was not able to sustain this price. So, and it has like started maybe a downward journey. So it can be very important, it is very important to see the movement on Monday. And volumes are also low, as I told you that investors started losing confidence in this, and it was not able to sustain its opening price. And although this candle is above the previous candle, the previous close was 1.9 and the close here is 2.4 2.3. Although it has closed above the last day trading session, but it is closed below the opening price. That's why the candle is red. So it has closed below the opening price, which says the opening, it was not able to sustain its opening price, and it never went up. It opened up 2.8 and it went a very little, like 2.89, or we can round it to 2.9. Open at 2.8, went to 2.9, just 2.9, and then went down till here 2.02 and made a closing a little above like 2.4. so it seems it remained in the downward trend on that day. If it opens here and doesn't makes any upper wick, a higher wick, and goes down, so this candle, the pattern of this candle shows that the stock remain in the downward trend on this day, and it may continue its downward trend. Volume, because volumes were also low, and see the RSI shape. The RSI shape was since this day it was on the higher side, and for number one, it is above 70, the correction is due. Number two, the shape was see this shape, RSI shape. Just let me zoom it. The shape was inclined, then shape has slightly tilted, so it can be moving down in the next session. So it's not advisable to enter in this stock. Number one, because it was not able to sustain this price, the opening price, made a lower closing price, volumes low. Number two, RSI above 70. Also the RSI shape has started to change. Like here, the shape change, it just became flat here. It didn't become flat, but it has tilted towards down. So you can see if it has tilted down, it will go further down. And this one is currently up. MACD is currently an upward, very steep, high upward. But if the stocks goes down, you will see the shape will be changing on the MACD level. So it's not a good time to enter in this if you already have a stock and you are holding it. And if you see in the first 15-20 minutes, or like maximum 1 hour trade on a Monday morning, or if you do the pre-market data, it's very important to look at the stock in the pre-market. The pre-market, the price is down, so you just need to exit the trade immediately on this, because it is expected to go down based on the volumes, RSI, and the shape of the candle and the trend which it followed on the last session. By the way, the same happened with the Air Canada also. Air Canada also was not able to make a big upper wick and then went down. So and also it's Air Canada, in addition, that was at its resistance level too. So Air Canada is looking dangerous. Although I'm also trading in that, and don't want this stock to go down, but it doesn't go with your wish. So it's market, it can go down, but it can eventually come up again. Okay, so guys, I have discussed the SPA, and so far, how is it going? Are you trying to understand? Are you understanding this? Just let me know. And Pankaj is saying news for Expo seems to be positive. Airports opening up, so should there be considered? That should be considered too, but that has already cashed. So that price opening up, when the price comes, everyone joins the party. They comes in. So that news was already broke, and people enjoyed here. People enjoyed on this day too. That's why it gave gap up, a huge gap up opening. Look here, to 1.9 to 2.8, a huge gap up opening of approximately $0.9. So that, and then it was not able to sustain. If there is any further news apart from the news which has already been encashed, or the impact has already been included in this, if there is any further news, then you can see upward. If there is no new news, then it might not be a good time to enter maybe. So if there is a new news coming in, that can be factored, but the previous news will not have any further impact on this. Or even if it impact, me like take it the other way, if even if impact, the momentum will be very very less. So if you enter in this, you will, the upward room will be very less, but the downward will be a much more space to go down. So if you talk about the risk to reward ratio, the reward will be, I'm just considering, like, this news factor will be still in the market and people will be coming in, just impacting that. So even if that impacts, it will impact a little. So the upside, the reward will be less, but the downside is more. So what is the downside? This is the downside here. So the downside is more, so risk is more. This is the downside. So upward side, if it goes up from here, at the point, at any point in time, it stays up, but the impact will be less. So risk is more and the reward is less. So risk to reward ratio doesn't satisfy here unless there is a new news that can be factored in. The previous news is already engaged. I hope that answers you. Okay, yeah, welcome. Okay, now, okay guys, we have like 21 watching and the 6 likes. If you are liking this video, just press the button so I can have like some sort of feedback from you guys, so it keeps the ball rolling. And thank you very much for the guys who have already liked this, and the other guys, if you are liking this video, or if it is adding some value, some information to you, it is helpful, then do like and comment so I can get some sort of feedback, and that will be a great motivation for me. And thanks for those who have already did that. Okay. We have discussed XPA, and we have other comments on C and Q. NVDA, let's go NVDA first. NVDA, you are talking about this one, Nasdaq, and or we have, I guess you will be talking about NVDA. Okay, this one. I hope I have opened the right one. Muzukhan, if it is Vakas, I think it's Vakas. If it is not the correct one, just tell me so I can change it. But I hope you are talking about this one, 356. Are you sure you are on this one? Vakas. Okay. Vakas, if you will confirm this, I will start this, but in the meanwhile, I'm moving to the next one. So just confirm so that I can start. I will come back again to your stock. I'm moving to the next one. So next one, let me pick up from the chat box. C and Q, Sencor, MGM, then we have Enbridge, BNS, LB. Muzaf, I will be coming back shortly to your stocks. Let me take some other stocks, or Franklin, and Bridge, and okay. Enbridge Incorporation, New York stock, or I think Toronto one. Guys, if you put in the ticker, that will helpful. Okay, so you want this New York one or the Canada one? Can you, Franklin, can you just confirm to me with the ticker so I can move it? So I will move, switching it to BNS. Okay, BNS. Okay, BNS seems to be currently at its resistance level. This is the resistance level for the BNS, and let me draw the support level to the support level. It can take a support from here. Let me change the color to blue. This is the support and this is resistance, and this is currently at its resistance level, and you can see, you see, if I can zoom it in, you can see the upward price rejection. This upward price rejection is dangerous. You know, it touched at this 62 level, and then it was not able to sustain at that point, and it closed even below its opening price. So it indicates a downward trend. Point number one, it made a high of 62, but it was not able to sustain. Point number two, it made a red candle, means it was not even able to sustain its opening price, and by the way, it made a gap up opening. It was closed on the previous day on the 59, but opened on the last session at 60.9. It was a gap up opening, but it was not able to sustain it. So it has come down. So the candle is red with upward price rejection, and the candlestick pattern, I'm not taking the exact name here, so most guys will be confused with this sort of candle. Whenever it forms, it depicts the downward trend. So in the next session you will find this stock going down, because number one, it has touched its resistance level, it has formed a red candle up with the upward price rejection. So there's a chance for this stock to go down, though RSI is still, you know, bullish in nature. Same goes with the MACD. But the MACD, if we see that you know, it has started coming down from here, it went down the histogram, and it stayed constant at this level. So the upward trend has seems to be finished. See, there was the upward trend here, that consolidation, and then after consolidation it can, after consolidation there are two options, either go up or go down, but the going down is you know, seems more visible because of this resistance level and upward price rejection. So you will see these histogram charts to histogram bars to come down. This histogram is coming down, it is showing the convergence. So you will see this shape also to be converged here. So it's easy to, you know, see from the bars, rather than measuring. You cannot measure a gap from here unless it is very obvious. So here it is not obvious, but here it's like constant, and it can fall down because of the other indicators which are telling us, and also the volumes are less, below average volumes in the last these trading days. Till here it was above average, then it falling down, and volumes are less, and also they are below their average volumes for the preceding days. For the last 20-day volume, here we are considering the volume for the last 20 days. So for the last 20-day volumes are lesser, so not a good buy. And depicting a downward trend. You can see the stock can, you know, resist here for a while at 50.69. So 56 actually, yeah, 56.69. So 55 to 56, you can see the stock coming down to this level, or in for a few days it can, you know, stop here. But at this point it will be a good buy, because most of the time it touched here. So this point at 57 also, let me draw a line here also, it can also be considered as a support, but better to wait for the next level, this line. So this line can also act as a support. So 55 to 57 will be a good buy for this. So that's, I think, the reasonable price to buy this stock. Okay, so at this current price, don't enter it. Okay, now next one, let's see. So I think we have covered this BNS. Okay, thank you, Franklin, Aditya, and everyone who is like saying that it is informative. Karthik, Saurabh, Pankaj, thanks a lot for your comments. Okay, Imran, CHR, okay, we can cover the CHR, HRs, technical analysis, HRV and PAT, Franklin, Canada, and Bridge. Okay, so let me take one stock CHR. Guys, we will be ending our session in next 15 minutes, so we can discuss 15 more minutes because it will be 1.5 hours. So we'll not go longer than that. It's not advisable for the guys who are in different time zones. Okay, so we'll have like next 15 minutes, so let's cover, I will take like 3 more stocks, so it will cover up like next 15 minutes. Okay, so CHR is, it goes same like with the AC. Okay, so it has the same pattern. If you can see the pattern, the stock trading here, this shape, this shape, this shape, it is similar to the shape of AC. Let's visualize the AC and then I'll come back here again. Those who don't know, they can see the graph. Okay, if I remove these lines, it will be very easy for you to see. Same pattern, so it moves with the same pattern. The only difference is the price. The price of CHR is less, Canada stock is high. So CHR goes, these both stocks goes together. So the only different thing in CHR is that it has a green candle. Otherwise everything is the same. If I can just zoom in, but also it is at its resistance level, same like CHR, same like AC. So this one, or I can draw it here, this one red, and I can draw a channel, a resistance channel, this one. Okay, so this level of 3.84 to 3.9, this seems to be a resistance level for this. It has touched made a higher of 3.8 and then it started falling down. So there, let's see what the RSI is saying. RSI is upward, this is upward, volumes are high. This seems to be in a little better shape than AC, not very much different, but a little better shape than AC. The reason is like it was able to sustain its opening price and gave a closing above its opening price. So that's why we have a green candle. Also made a gap up opening, made a high, and then went down, but was able to sustain its opening price, maybe because of the huge supported volumes, and volumes are good. So we can expect this stock to either to trade above or maybe at the same level in the next morning, but response will be a little bit more positive than Air Canada because of the factor that it was at least able to sustain its opening price. If the Air Canada goes down, CHR will also go down because it will both both move in the same direction. So the resistance level is very near, but even if it goes down, goes up, it will not make a very high jump because it has the resistance here, it have a resistance here. So in the longer run, it is expected to go down. So if you find the stock going down, then you have to wait a little till it goes to its support level of, let me draw a line here, blue. The support will be considered here at this will not be a good support here at this point. So you will find the stock 2.86 taking a support at this level based on the past trend, because from here when it start falling down, it stop here at this line. So now here again, if it stop falling down, it can come down at 2.6. If you're planning to buy this stock, just wait till it reaches around this 2.86 level and then you can enter in the trade. Okay, and RSI is above, showing a bullish nature. MACD is fine. But these are not the only thing that we need to consider while entering in a trade. Volumes are also good, so it may have like a few positive sessions, but upside, the reward is lesser as compared to the risk. The downside is huge. The downside is like, you can see the downside from here, 3.6 to 2.86, more than $1, and the upside is like few cents from 3.72 to 3.8, like 10-12 cents or maximum 20 cents is the reward, and more than $1 is the risk. So based on risk and reward ratio, not advisable to enter. Wait for this stock to go down and then you can enter this trade. Those who already have this, and if at any point of time on Monday, on Tuesday, you see the star it has started going down, better to exit it, and then you can buy again from 2.8. I hope that it's sufficient for you to analyze this stock. And now we can move on to the next one. Okay, thank you guys for liking it. We have 12 likes. Still guys who haven't liked the video, and if they like this, just press the like button to show just your likeness, and you see to see how you are feeling out, or feeling about this session. And by the way, this is the first ever session we are having, and like we never had this session before. This is the first time, and let's see how it moves well. And if we have a like good response and people are liking it, they really want to have these educational sessions, then we can continue it. We never planned it to be happen like this way. It was just a random idea, and then we started it. So if there is a good response and people are liking it, we will continue this. And let's aim for our collective learning. Those guys who are not able to join, we will have a video uploaded on the channel, and you will be given a link in the group, and you can watch it on a later stage. Who have already watched it, if you want just refresh something from the educational aspect for the first 25 minutes, you can refresh that. And those who are not able to join due to any reason, they can also go back and see the recording. Okay, next we can take, okay, thank you Pankaj, thank you for your response. Hopefully yes, we will continue this, because I have a feeling that people are liking this, and it's just adding value and adding knowledge to them. Because what I see, like in most of, and guys, one important thing here is like we have to make it very interactive. It's not like only like I'll be speaking and you guys will be listening or something, then it will be a very boring session, believe me. We have to make it interactive. Although you cannot speak, there's like unlike the Zoom where you can speak, but on the Zoom we have like some other things, like everyone starts speaking together or something like that. So here, like I feel it more better. And you have a chat box to say something, your feelings, your points, your comments on that. So let's make it a classroom session rather than like a radio session, like where only one guy is speaking and otherwise are just the listeners. So you need to be very interactive, ask questions. If you want me to repeat something, let me know, and share your views. If you have some knowledge, you have some news about any stock, or you are trading one stock and you think that it will go up and you have a reason to support this, or you came across some news or something and you want to share it here, feel free, and it will help all of us to learn from that news or that aspect or any of the knowledge that you are going to share. So feel free to do this, and let's make this an interactive where we both interact. It's not only me that will go and speak it for 1.5 hours or so. So we all have to participate in this, and this will be beneficial for all of us. So we will be moving on to our next one. The next one we can take about Hall. How about Hall? Okay, let me take Hall, and then I can come back again to some of the stocks. Some of the stocks in the list I might have missed because they have gone up, because the chat is on the other screen and I'm on the other screen. If something goes up, it might have been missed. If your stock has been missed, you can comment here so that I can have a look on that. So you are about Hallmark Financial Services. Musa, can you confirm this? In the meanwhile, I will be taking the other one. Just confirm me about this Hall, because we have similar names in the Canadian and in the US market. So if you can write in brackets your stock exchange name, it will be easy to identify. Okay, so what next to take? HIVE. I'm taking HIVE. Just HIVE. Which one? New York or TSX? I think it should be TSX. I will be commenting on the TSX. And okay, $0.4 stock, cheaper one to buy. Okay, this seems to be really interesting because I'm just looking at this candlestick. The candlestick is a green. Okay, it shows that the stock moved up and downward price rejection. We call this candlestick that this the name of this candlestick is like hammer. So this hammer, whenever this type of candlestick is formed, it shows a shift in the trend, and that's actually an upward trend. So I will be telling you more about the candlestick, how to read the candlestick in our next session. Next topic, education topic, is the candlestick pattern, where we see the names of this candle. Like the name of this candle is a doji candle. So this is a doji. So what it says, I will be telling you on this. And this is the hammer. Whenever the hammer is formed, it shows upward trend, a shift in the trend, and most likely it's not likely, it is actually upward trend. So from here we can see the upward trend, and this analysis is purely based on the candlestick pattern. So candlestick patterns, I have not seen anything else yet on this graph. This is the first thing that caught my attention. So this candlestick shows that the stock can go up from here. So let me draw the line here. Upside is here, or I can see here, this is, let me make a red resistance line, and the support line here is, you can see the stock taking support at this level. Support should be blue. Okay, that's the support level. So downside, if I talk about risk and reward ratio, downside is 0.35 and the upside is 0.4445, means it's like 50-50, 1:1 ratio, which is we consider like good, though it's neutral, but considering building in the other factors like the shape of this candle, risk reward ratio seems to be positive because of the downward price rejection, and it can go up. So I think from this point of time, it is like about to change the trend. It can go up. Volumes are still below average, but it has made almost the double volume as compared to the previous 2 days sessions. A higher volume, if not double, like it's approximately like almost, you can say, like a huge volume, supported by the volume and the shape of the candle. And now here it's interesting to see, it is converging. Okay, and if we see the next day session, and next day session is positive, you will see a crossover. Whenever there is a convergence, it's not like convergence is always a negative impact to see. Convergence can also, because it can also time to see that it can be a crossover in the future. So it has been converged, and it can give you a crossover in the next session. Okay, RSI is in upward direction, but still, because since it is up above 50, so it is positive, showing the stock is an upward move. And this one is a straight line, which shows a neutral move. Still it is neutral. Okay, RSI is neutral, but above 50 shows stock is an upward trend. Here it is about to cross the signal line, shows like you can enter in this stock. Downward price rejection, risk reward ratio 1:1. Maximum that you can do is wait for just one more day to get a confirmation. The next day is also positive, and the candle is formed. The closing is above 0.4. Okay, then it will be considered as a you can say as a confirmation. 1 day confirmation, always take at least 1 day confirmation. So there will be a 1 day confirmation, then you can say, okay, yes, the stock has already changed. And after that, you will see the volumes will almost approach or it can make not cross, but it can approach the average volumes higher than the previous days. The shape will go up, and you can see the crossover to here. So this can be a good stock to watch on Monday. You can add it in your watch list. And because the price is also low, most of the guys, like, they are interested in the low prices stock. And I can think this can be a stock where you can keep a watch, and it can be a good buy in next day or two. Okay, so we'll be taking the last stock now, because the time is we are almost there, or to 1.5 hours. So this is the last stock coming up, and let's see which stock to take in. Okay, we can take in the last one. That should be the last one. Let me pick up. Okay, yes, I think I have taken the right one. Okay, the last one. Okay, the last one. Okay, I have not taken anything from Abid, so I will go with Abid now because Muzo, I have like discussed few other stocks from you and other guys as well. So let's go with Abid. Those stocks that are left over, we can discuss in our next sessions, which will be probably at the same time. Next one is LK. Okay, I have a question here. Okay, from Ejaz. Okay. Okay, just the next one, the R2. R2, the resistance level 2 will be the resistance level 2. The resistance level 2, I cannot see here the immediate resistance because this is only one, so it cannot be considered the resistance. Let me go back here. Okay, yeah, this one I got it. Let me change the color to red. Okay, so the next resistance will be 0.53. So you still have like room 0.44. If it crosses 44, the next one you can see the immediate one will be, I think there's another here. Yes, this can be considered as a resistance before it moves to 0.53, and not this one or this one. It can be considered like it is almost the same 0.45 or the 44. It is almost the same. So this one 0.53, before 53 you can see a resistance at 0.47. So we have 0.44 or 45. You can say this is channel 44, better to say 44, then 47, and then 53 will be the resistance levels for this stock. I hope that answers you. Okay, just now I was taking that one of the stock from Abid. LK, you can copy. This is the last stock for today, and then we'll end up the session. You can copy. Okay, yeah, here we go. You can copy. By the way, guys, for the MACD, it just came to my mind. In MACD, if when you're using MACD and there is no volume in the stock, there is no trend, then don't use MACD because it is based on the past data. If there is no past data, there is no trend in the past data. The stock is illiquid stock. Most of the then there is normally no trading in that stock. So don't use MACD because it will not give you anything. Okay, so here you can copy. Seems to be a good stock. Why? Because of this gap. There is a gap down. Whenever there is a gap, the stock will come back to refill the gap. So sooner or later, always keep in mind, whenever there is a gap, whether it is a gap up or is a gap down, the stock will always finish that gap or close that gap. So this is the gap here. So currently it is trading at this level. So eventually you can see in the very near future the stock will go to this 23.9924. It will cover this gap which was created in March. Yeah, that's March. So the stock will cover this. It may not be like going, of course, straight till here. It will go till some point and then consolidate, maybe take a little dip, little correction, and then it will go up. So eventually the target for guys who are holding this or who are planning to buy this stock, that your first target should be 23.47, although it can show a resistance here. If I can tell you the resistance line, let me take a backward look. If there's any other resistance below this, there's a small one, but not too much to I can say it will be very weak because it's one or approximately touching two, so let's not consider that. So this one will be a strong resistance at this point. 18 will be your first target. If it crosses 18, then you will see the next resistance level at this point. So we can make it more clear. Yep. So this point a 21.74 to 22, because we have some resistance here. 18.21 is the first level and 21.74 is the next level of resistance. So if it goes to 21.74, we can say eventually it has already closed its gap, because it's like near its gap. So from this point of 5 to 21.74, or you can say 22, so it will eventually cover its gap. That's what I was talking about. And the first level will be 18, so it can be a good buy in the long run. And I'm not talking about what will happen in next day or two. I'm talking about a longer period, more than a week time. So for the swing trade, it's good. Okay, let's talk about the candle. It has formed it had made a gap up opening but couldn't sustain its gap or opening level, and made a downward move. The previous analysis which I made this was for over a week, minimum a week time, the weekly analysis, not the daily one. For the daily perspective, what we can see, that it was not able to sustain its opening price, and made a downward closing price of 5.51, and open at little higher price, made an upper wick but couldn't sustain. So it seems that it is currently at its resistance level, but this resistance is not a strong resistance on a daily basis. By the way, this resistance was this being discussed of 18.21 on the weekly grounds, or a longer period. So this resistance, I can see here, currently this stock is at its daily resistance, though this resistance is not very strong. This is not considered as a strong resistance. The stock can break this. If it breaks this resistance, you can see the stock eventually going to this level of 18. Or if it doesn't, then it will take a support of this point, 1.75, or even you can say 1.75. It can take a support at 1.75. So downward from here, if it gives a break, then it will be going up to 18. Or if it takes if it doesn't break, then it will take a support at 1.75. The downside is less as compared to the upper side. Is there is no more upper side left here, unless this stock gives the breaks out. If it gives a breakout, then you will see a huge room that it can eventually go up till 18 and 21. But on a daily time frame, watch this stock closely on Monday, if it is giving a breakout, or if it is not giving a breakout. If it is not giving a breakout, then you can plan a buy of 1.75. And even if you buy at this, like you're buying at 1.75, it has got room to go up. Okay, so you can put this stock in your buy list. And the very good thing of this stock is, like, you see the MACD is like 30. It's like an oversold stock. It's good to buy this stock. I think that's a good one. And this has shown a crossover, an upward crossover, and the momentum is ever increasing. The divergence is increasing. MACD is highly positive. RSI is also depicting a buy trend, and a good stock to watch. Or just only thing here is like this one, and that is like serious to note, that it was not able to sustain its opening price and made a red candle. And if it gives on Monday, if it gives a closing price above this, you can see this stock like shooting up. Or on the other side, if it goes down, then make a buy around 1.75 to 1.8. You can plan a buy. Okay, I hope that Abid, it answers your question. And volume, if we talk about the volume is little low, maybe because of the upside price rejection, or the resistance that people were looking at. So most of people didn't buy this stock on this day. I would rather to say didn't trade it in this stock in the last session, or next session it can be a good one. But this one is in the US. Most of the guys don't have the US access. The guys who have access the US market, it's good stock to look into. And that closes our today's session. And I hope you like this session for today, and it would have increased your knowledge. And at least those who already knew few of the things, it would be like a good refresher for them. And just comment there, and I would be happy to see your comments and would like to improve on. If there is something, of course there is always a room for improvement. If there is something we need to add on and to work on that for our future sessions, so we'll be happy to welcome your comments and your feedback. Yeah, and if anything you want to share, you can. And if you like this video, just press like button, so it will be like something a feedback from me, so it will be motivating for me. And thank you very much for today's time. Thanks for your session. And Saurabh is saying that you heard the news of it being delisted, not sure what happened. Okay, if you are saying about something delisting, I have not heard any news on this. And by the way, whenever there is a news, go with the news, whatever the technical is saying, because all technical analysis fail over the fundamental analysis, and the news and everything, fundamentals come on top, and then a technical analysis, you pick the stock on based on fundamentals, and then you trade in based on the technicals and plan your trade accordingly based on the stock which you have already picked. And if there is a news, I keep on repeating this thing, like if there is a news, go with the news, or technicals come to zero on the news. So if there is a news, guys, go with the news. Okay, so I think the guy Abid, you were asking about this, go and check out if this is really delisting, or there is some bad news on this. So that maybe because of that it has formed this sort of candle on the last session. You can have a watch. And thank you, Saurabh, for sharing this information. And that's what I keep on saying, that if you have some information, just share it for the benefit of all. Also, can you send me a separate video for support? I have not made it. Once we have this video, for sure we can. Okay, we can do this. Moza Khan, session was awesome. Thank you very much. Saurabh, thanks for the knowledge session. Thanks, Saurabh. Thanks, Pankaj, Abid. Yes, risky to invest as they got noticed. Okay, like be careful then. Okay, thanks everyone for joining today's session, and I hope to see a feedback from you and from comments or the likes. And thank you very much. And the next session, I think now we have come to some sort of conclusion, like this today's time suits most of the guys, and Saturday we can plan all Saturdays on the same time, 11. 11 was Vancouver, so it was 2 p.m. EST. That suits, I think, everyone, unless I get some response from you guys to change it. Otherwise we will be sticking to the same time. And if everything goes well, we can increase the number of sessions on the 2 days, Saturday, Sunday both, because most of the guys, you were saying that you're listing some of the stocks. I was not able to pick all of them, so whatever is left we can do on the next session. But if you guys plan, you are ready to join, we can increase it on 2 sessions from from Saturday and Sunday. So tomorrow there will be no session for tomorrow, because it has not yet planned already. So for the next Saturday, you can just let me know if you want both on Saturday on Sunday, then we can plan that, so that we can strictly fix to that 1.5 hours. And now it's like almost 1.45, so we cannot go longer on this. Thank you very much. Thanks, Salim, and have a nice day, and enjoy your next trading session. Thank you and goodbye.